National Duels is finally back in the D1 college wrestling space, and we have a loaded field set to wrestle in Florida from December 20th to the 21st live on Rofkin. The following teams are set to make the trip to Florida. We got number 5 and Pac-12 favorite Arizona State, along with New York standout school Binghamton, the favorite to win the MAC this year in Central Michigan Chippewas, and a dominant Ivy League powerhouse in Cornell, along with EIWA come-up Hofstra. Then there's number 1 ranked Iowa and another top EIWA school in Lehigh, along with Missouri, who is ranked as high as 3rd in dual meets this year. And then we have one of the deepest teams in the ACC with North Carolina State. And number 2 in the country and in the Big Ten, we have Penn State, along with Big 12 standout Northern Iowa. And finally, we have the returning ACC dual champs, Virginia Tech. If you couldn't tell by my very long-winded and very excited tone, this event is going to be crazy, and it is set to have some of the best wrestling teams in the country right now. There's no official D1 national duels with a set playoff bracket with a 1 to 16 seed or conference champs battling it out for the title of dual meet champs, but Journeyman is coming awfully close to making this a true national duels. Before we jump into this, hey everyone, my name is Tanner, and this is TrueTan Wrestling. I make D1 college wrestling dual/tournament previews and recaps, along with breaking news stories in the D1 college wrestling space. If any of that sounds interesting to you, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any collegiate duel questions throughout my video, don't be shy to leave a comment in the comment section below, and thank you very much for the support. One disclaimer I would like to mention is just because Iowa and Penn State are here, that does not mean they will eventually hit. The tournament is set into a pool format, and is set so all the teams will get new matches. For example, Arizona State is set to wrestle Lehigh and Missouri later in their schedule, so they are separated for this tournament and will never hit each other. The same is true for Penn State and Iowa because they will see each other later in the Big Ten matchups, and the same is true for you ACC fans. NC State and Virginia Tech can't see each other at this tournament. The only possible double matchup is possibly Virginia Tech versus Northern Iowa, who both wrestled each other a few weeks ago at the Missouri Tri-Meet. The tournament appears like it will be run with a 2-match setup, which is fun from a fan perspective. Our first pool to look at is the blue pool side 1 with Northern Iowa, Cornell, and Penn State. Some fun matchups we could see between Northern Iowa and Cornell are at 141 with either Sanders or Hanlovic from Cornell going against Cale Happel of Northern Iowa. I highlight this match because we have yet to see Sanders in a dual meet setting or at CKLV, even though he was likely the starter coming into this year. Sanders has a questionable loss to Cornell redshirt Cornella, who also seems promising, and Hanlovic seems like he has a spot for now. Cale Happel of Northern Iowa does have a loss to Virginia Tech's Girardi and Minnesota's Polanco, who are both scrappers, but he also beat highly ranked Alan Hart of Missouri. I think this match will be really entertaining between two young studs who only really have losses to highly regarded opponents. Moving on up, we have Chris Foca, who will have Schoenfelder of UNI, who has a win over Mako of Missouri, so this will be another test for Foca after placing 3rd at an impressive CKLV weight class. Then there is 184 with Kakaisen of Northern Iowa, going up against Lowe of Cornell, who are an impressive CKLV. Kakaisen is a returning All-American who also looks very offensive this year, and I am very high on Lowe this year after him racking up big name wins at CKLV and the Bearcat Open. His only loss this year came from Taylor Venz of Nebraska at CKLV. 197 would be a very fun weight class with Holschlag of UNI versus Cardenas of Cornell, but it appears Holschlag is out this year due to injury, which is unfortunate for the senior, so I wish him the best and UNI. UNI will have back-to-back matches, with them taking on Penn State in their second match. I'm not sure if this term is classified as the second term for college sports, so if Hildebrandt is an official transfer to Penn State, we could see a rematch of Teskey and Hildebrandt from last year's NCAA quarterfinals. 141 will give Cale Happel another challenge, facing returning champ Nick Lee. As mentioned in my Penn State video that you all should definitely go check out, I'm not sure what to expect at 157, but UNI will probably send out Cade Lara or Derek Holschlag, who seem to both be 157-pounders, flip-flopping matches at 165 and 157, so 157 should be competitive no matter who Penn State sends out, and 165, even though Yant at UNI has yet to wrestle any duels, I still think that would be a fun match between Yant and Etzel of Penn State. 184 is definitely the match to watch for, with returning champ Aaron Brooks wrestling Kakaisen, returning 3rd place All-American. Brooks would beat Kakaisen last year in the semifinals of last year's Nationals, but we have 6-4 decision. They both look great this year with their small sample size of matches, and this will be Brooks' first real test of the season. Cornell versus Penn State should definitely have some fire matchups, starting at 125 with Greg D versus Shunk. I think they are both at the same skill level, but I think Shunk will get the best of Greg D, just based off their early match results. 133 will hopefully see Vito versus RBY, which should show Vito's true standing at his new weight class. 149 will give Barlett of Penn State a major test in Yanni of Cornell. This match could tell a lot about Barlett's development from last year to now, and his size at the weight class compared to Yanni. 157 we could see Yapoin or Santoro of Cornell face off against one of Penn State's options, including Bearclaw, Bloomer, or Negron. So this match should be competitive, and regardless, it will definitely be a major swing match in the duel. 165 is a match I'm interested to see, with Etzel coming off a good win at Lehigh and taking on Ramirez, who just had a really good CKLV, taking fourth, only losing to Carson Karchula. Folk will match up against returning champ Starocki, which should be an amazing match since Folk's ceiling is so high, and Starocki seems like he's made some serious off-season adjustments. 184 and 197 will be fun, with Cornell probably going with Lowe and Cardenas, where they will face very good and very tough Brooks and Dean. I would be excited at heavyweight with Kerkvliet going against highly projected Fernandez of Cornell, but he seems to be on a long leave due to injury, so it will probably be Flynn for Cornell. The other side of the blue pool, we will see Hofstra versus Virginia Tech and Arizona State, along with Virginia Tech and Arizona State likely wrestling for the spot in the pool final. Hofstra loaded up their first half of the schedule with impressive duel matches, so it was awesome to see them competing at such a high level, and their team has come a long way in just a few years. Some Hofstra standouts to watch during the event are of course their 184 to heavyweight squad. Small at 184 is doing well for himself, and he has actually picked up a win over Wisconsin starter Weiler, who is a transfer from Lehigh. I believe everyone knows that 197 Rogers beat maybe the most anticipated recruit at 197, Braxton Amos of Wisconsin. Rogers does have some losses on the year to Lockhaven and Rutgers starter, but I am excited to see him wrestle Dakota Howard and Norfleet of Arizona State. This side of the pool will ultimately come down to ACC versus Pac-12, with Virginia Tech versus Arizona State. We will see two All-Americans start the duel with Latona and Courtney. Courtney is undefeated on the year, but Latona has had a little bit of a rough start, so a win over Courtney would put him back on the right track. 133 will see McGee for Arizona State, who will probably be trying to redeem himself after a second place finish at the Cowboy Open. He will face off against top-ranked 133 and All-American Corbin Myers. 141 will see a major swing match with Young Vasquez of Arizona State taking on Girardi of Virginia Tech, and then 149 will be an insane Nationals round of 12 rematch between Parco of Arizona State going up against Andonia of Virginia Tech. Parco would eventually win that match and go on All-American, but they have both been lights out and fun to watch this season. Parco has looked better than ever, and it seems like Arizona State is a really good fit for him. And then there's Bryce Andonian, who's been one of the craziest wrestlers to sit down and watch this year, and he is just really fun. 157 will see Brady coming off a big Missouri win to take on a very tough returning All-American teamer from Arizona State. I honestly don't think teamer is a very good matchup for Brady, but we will see how the match goes. Then we jump up to 174, where we could see Mekhi Lewis face off against top standout redshirt Kale Valencia, but I think it's a long shot if they'll pull Valencia's redshirt for this. Finally, Traxler will have another tough match under his belt this season, going up against top-tier Colin Schultz of Arizona State. But I'm not really too sure how competitive this match will be for Traxler, because it certainly was not during his Stanford debuts. Moving down to the first side of the red pool, we will see Lehigh, Central Michigan, and Iowa battle it out. I love Lehigh, and I believe Lehigh and Central Michigan have a well-balanced team for their respective conferences, but I don't think either of them can beat even an injured Hawkeye lineup. However, that does not mean there won't be some great matchups and great wrestlers to look out for. Some wrestlers to look out for Central Michigan's squad are 141-pounder Simon, 149-pounder Munson, 157-pounder Johnny Lovett, and then of course heavyweight Stencil. All of them have some great results, but also some questionable moments. Simon and Lovett both had great wins at NCAAs, and Simon had an awesome come-from-behind win over a very good Kinner from Ryder earlier this year. However, Simon left some great matches up in the air after wrestling one match at the MSU Open and then medical forfeiting out. Lovett beat a very good Jake Hughes at Nationals last year before going 2-2. He also has a win over Doug Zapp of Penn, who is having an amazing year himself. Lovett also has losses to Wisconsin's backup and a Northern Illinois wrestler. Munson at 149 has some ups and downs, like a close 4-2 loss to Legend Lamer, who's a very good wrestler, but he also beat Brian of Lehigh, who's one of the best up-and-comers this year. Then there's the heavyweight Stencil, who in my opinion is leveling off from his previous expectations and ceiling. He had a poor national performance along with a loss this season to a very good Wood of Lehigh. However, he did pin an extremely good Traub, who just won CKLV, and I think Traub could actually All-American this year. Stencil and Cassiope on paper might be a good match, but if Stencil can't pin Cassiope, I really can't see him winning that match. Lehigh's 133 Malik Hines, I'm excited to see take on DeSanto, since Malik Hines did beat Philippi of Pitt. And yes, I do know it was a defensive pin, but that match was very competitive before that happens, so Hines has definitely made some serious offseason improvements. Bryan versus Mirren should also be a thrilling match at 149, and it can really show where Bryan truly is on the pecking order at 149 after his big win over Barlett. At 157, Humphries versus Young should be interesting, but in my opinion, Humphries does not look as good as he has in previous years. Maybe his redshirt season last year actually had diminishing returns, which is unfortunate because Humphries used to be very fun to watch. However, with that said, he does have some good wins on this season, like against Lockhaven/Campbell transfer Barton, so it's not all downs for Humphries. 165 will see Meyer Lehigh take on Marinelli of Iowa. I think Marinelli will handle Meyer well, but Meyer did just beat the returning runner-up from last year. But I chalk that up to being a little bit of style and matchup issues for Wetzel of Pitt. Marinelli is a completely different animal, so like I said, I think it will handle Meyer just fine. Wood versus Cassiope should be the match of the pool, I think, and that's a big statement for me to say. Wood has looked great this year, being 7-0, and I don't want to jinx him, but I think he might be back to his true form. Wood's best finish has been 4th at NCAAs in 2019 at a very good heavyweight field. Cassiope has already done better than that, but I think this will be an amazing match and a great test for both of them. The final thing to mention about this pool is that maybe we could see Spencer Lee and Kemmer of Iowa, but they have yet to wrestle yet this season, so I'm just being hopeful for this one. Finally, wrapping everything up with the final side of the red pool, we have Binghamton, North Carolina State, and Missouri. For Binghamton, their key stars are definitely Rose at 125, Lou Dupree at a new weight class, 197, and Doyle at heavyweight. Rose will for sure be tested facing Camacho of North Carolina State and Cernan of Missouri. Doyle will see new come up for the Wolfpack Treffin, who beat out several-time heavyweight starter Wilson, and Dupree will also be extremely tested with tough young wrestlers like Rocky Elan and Tromble. Maybe Dupree can use his maturity, but these are two extremely good opponents regardless of the age difference. Dupree just placed at CKLV, so these are good testing needs before EIWAs. Missouri versus NC State is the key matchup for this division, and I don't think the duel will disappoint at all. There will be matches like Camacho versus Cern at 125, Edmond versus Tariq Wilson at 149, and young Ed Scott looking to make a name for himself at 157, taking on veteran and JQs. Bullard versus O'Toole could be competitive, but I could also see O'Toole not really being tested at 165 until the crossover. The Hidley brothers will both see great opponents in Mako and Kentz, and finally I'm really excited to see Rocky Elan versus Trumbull, because these are two highly regarded young wrestlers this year, and then there's heavyweight with Zach Elam taking on new starter Treffin, which will definitely be a barn burner. The Cern versus Camacho match definitely interests me. Camacho is yet to be tested this year, and Cern just pinned Latona, and Camacho is 0-3 against Latona. However, Latona has looked off this year, so only time will tell. And then seeing Hay and Hille versus a highly regarded 174 will be telling for his mega weight gain in the offseason. Phew, that was a lot. But that was my first day thoughts for the pools for collegiate duels. There's going to be fire wrestling from start to finish with no looking back, so don't miss out on all the action on Rofkin. I would really like to thank Journeyman for setting this event up, and it's going to be so awesome on December 20th and 21st. I will cover some of the projected crossover matches, but those aren't finalized yet, so I'll just cover those in the recap video. Plus, this video is already long enough the way it is. I hope you all enjoyed my pool-by-pool breakdown. If I missed talking about anything or didn't highlight your favorite team or wrestler enough, please let me know in the comment section below, and I can cover them in the recap. If you like college wrestling, be sure to hit that like button. If you love college wrestling and this video, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well for more TrueTan wrestling content with uploads weekly. Now, I hope everyone has a nice day, and I will see you all in the Collegiate Duel recap.